So today we have some breaking news that there's an undocumented pneumonia outbreak that is spreading rapidly, and millions of people are extremely worried about what's coming. As of right now, this is mainly impacting children and the elderly. However, the big concern is that this could spread even faster. Now, why does this matter? Well, that's what we're going to get to today. We're going to talk about where this is coming from, how this could potentially impact you and millions of people here in the United States. But before I get into all of that, first, all I ask is if you enjoy these daily updates talking about the news, different reports, and things that are now starting to impact us here in the US, then make sure you do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. So first, here's what you need to know. So Chinese hospitals are now overwhelmed with sick children after a surge in respiratory illness. It says China has reported an increase in respiratory illnesses as it enters its first full flu season since lifting COVID restrictions. The World Health Organization says the spike is caused by known pathogens and does not pose a global threat. However, experts say that it does pose a threat, but it might not be the threat that you are anticipating. Now, a lot of people have said this looks very similar to what happened in 2020. But I want to go over some of those statistics. Because here's what's happening. Today is November 26, 2023. Okay? What we know is that back in 2019, the first documented COVID case was in December of 2019. The first documented case here in the United States, I know this very well because it was on January 20th, 2020, and it was actually in Snohomish County. It's very close to me here in the Seattle area. It's here near Seattle anyway. But on March 13th, 2020, this is when then President Donald Trump, he declared a national public health emergency. Okay? Now, this emergency began on March 1st, but the first lockdowns happened on March 12th. All these dates matter. Now, the federal public health emergency, you may have remembered this because I did a video on this in the end of it. It lasted until May 11th, 2023. That's this year. This means that the United States was in a public health emergency for 1,154 days straight of a public health emergency. All because of a pneumonia outbreak. What now we're hearing this is a mysterious pneumonia outbreak. Interesting. Now, look at this. It says, so many kids are falling sick in China that a children's hospital said it saw 13,000 cases in a single day. One day. How crazy is that? That's massive. Now, are we going to see this spread overseas? Well, I want to read you something. This is actually from Bloomberg. It says, will it spread overseas? For those outside China, like in the US, the reports of respiratory illness outbreaks have brought back memories of the early days of the pandemic, which first emerged as a mysterious pneumonia. Cases in the city in Wuhan in 2019 and whose origin has never been definitively pinned down. But unlike COVID, the mycoplasma is a well-known and common germ that tends to cause fresh outbreaks every few years, and other viruses are circulating too, particularly RSV, meaning it's likely that this winter we'll see countries across the world face a variety of pathogens. Now, we do know, according to the World Health Organization, it says no unknown or new pathogen has been detected in China amid the rise in respiratory illnesses. That's good news, right? Well, yes and no. Let's talk about why this is happening, and then I want to get to some comments and explain why this could be big news here in the United States, especially with the presidential election right around the corner. Let's look at this. Why is this happening? It says it is normal for respiratory infections to rise during winter. What's more, this is China's first winter since the strict lockdowns to prevent COVID. That means there will be a much larger number of children than usual who haven't been exposed to certain viruses and bacteria before, and therefore have no immunity. Furthermore, the immunity of people who have previously been infected by these viruses and bacteria will have faded somewhat. That means a big wave of infections is probable, as occurred in other countries after lockdowns. Now, here in the United States, after the lockdowns ended, we went back to more of a normal life, right? Masks came down, we went back to normalcy. We saw an increased number of hospitalizations, increased number of infections. That's just what we saw. But at the same time, the worry now is we are starting to see China, for one, this is their first full winter, okay, where they're going back to normal. The problem is they're also traveling. And so this is potentially creating an issue for countries that are allowing Chinese nationals into their country. The United States is one. So this is a potential concern, but according to the World Health Organization and the CDC, there is nothing new here. The CDC did and have put in place, they're going to vote on this soon, or put this up for a approval, but they are looking at weakening the protection requirements, because again, this is possibly something that we need to look into. At this time, it's nothing new. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, I want to share some comments that I received about this. One says, Adam, my niece had mycoplasma a couple years back, and she had it for many months, 6 total. It was hard to overcome it. So this is a mysterious pneumonia, but they're saying it's this mycoplasma pneumonia. Now, if we are starting, I've heard this before, that people have had it for many months, right? And it's tough to get out of it, to break free of it. If you are stuck with this for many months, this could really change things for you and your health. Another person said, I can't believe this is happening again. Didn't we just go through this? And now it seems like all this is happening exactly the same. It's close. Not exactly the same, but it's close. Another one says, mysterious pneumonia, right? We have heard this before. Yeah. And I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is something that we need to be very cautious with? Or do you think this is just normal? That this is China's first full flu season, and now they're really starting to get hit? Let me know down in the comment section below. Another person says, what I find odd is that we have an election coming up. And of course, there's another possible pandemic on our hands. Doesn't this seem fishy to you too? Let me know. And one last one says, this better not hit the United States. As a nurse, we have lost more than 50% of our staff. We are overworked and still underpaid. And there are now new talks of a strike. Frankly, we would be screwed. That's where things are at, and this is interesting. Okay, I want to show you this. This is from CNBC, and I want to explain the date here. This is June 22nd, 2023. This is months ago. Why would this matter? It says first on CNN, bill would give Biden new powers to prepare for the next pandemic. Everybody's concerned about the next pandemic, possibly what is coming from China. As of right now, it's not a pandemic. We're okay. But everyone's preparing for the next one. You know what many people are worried about right now? Not the next pandemic. They're worried about the U.S. economy. Voters here in the United States are worried about the U.S. economy. And so I bring up this bill because the economy was struggling during the pandemic. Not the initial stages of it because we got so much stimulus funding, but at this time, do you think the U.S. government is going to be able to provide an additional $7 trillion in stimulus? No, absolutely not. There's no way. And so if there's no stimulus, but we enter into another pandemic, which according to Bill Gates is inevitable and it's coming in the next handful of years, but if we enter into a new one, do we have the money to pay for it, to pay for a vaccine, to speed through a vaccine within months? Right? Cure this. I want to know your thoughts, because this is actually alarming. What's happening over in China, and granted, the World Health Organization says nothing new, right? It's not unknown, no new pathogens detected. We're okay, according to the World Health Organization. But I can tell you right now, based off polls, worldwide polls as well, they're saying that they don't trust the World Health Organization. You ask people here in the United States, do you trust the CDC? They say no, we don't trust the CDC. We don't trust them. Why would we trust them when they lied to us for months, years? So I want to know your thoughts. Is this something that we should be concerned with? In my honest opinion, do I think this is a mysterious pneumonia? This is a disease or illness that's coming into the United States, and it's going to, cause loss of life. It could. It's not going to be like we saw with COVID. But here's the issue: if we see hospitals get overwhelmed, okay, especially children's hospitals, we don't have the staff that we had before. We don't have it. The other issue is, and this is something I want to read to you as well, okay? This one right here, this is actually from CNN. It's that same article, okay? But it says right here, in the years since, Americans have faced periodic shortages of antibiotics, common pain relievers, baby formula, and key components needed for CT scans. This is important. This is essential. Baby formula, remember that? Yeah, it was huge. I remember people were selling baby formula, the bottles of like Similac. They were selling that stuff for hundreds of dollars for a box, okay, or one serve or whatever. I'm not sure what you call it, but there's a box of it for hundreds of dollars. Guess what? Pain relievers were expensive. Antibiotics were tough to come by. This is all stuff we could go down this road again, but I just wanted to fill you in on what's happening at this time, because again, they're saying it's an undiagnosed pneumonia outbreak that's happening in China. It's spreading rapidly, but what did we just get over with? Got over with Thanksgiving, a holiday where people travel. I know a handful of people that actually traveled back home to China. Okay? So, could this spread? Yes, it could. When will it spread? Well, the expectation is it would likely spread right after Thanksgiving or right after Christmas, when more people are expected to travel. So, that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on here and share all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.